Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there, and welcome to the fourth round of the Legend of the Stars qualifiers. This is leading up to the massive end of the year tournament that happens just about every year. We're going to see a mix of some old faces and some new faces that have passed through the previous qualifiers, and we're just going to see who can place top in this to secure a spot in the finals. On the top side of this particular matchup, we do have a Blinchik, otherwise known as Pancakes, going UEF, and on the south side, we have Bravo as Seraphim. Seraphim's going to give him a little bit of an advantage on this map because it is a rather small one, and it does have a good quantity of water. So UEF is going to have to respond with frigates. It's going to be difficult to block all of the avenues of access with the ACU since this is a large enough area that little hover units can slip in on all of the edges. This one is a cliff, so the mass extractors can be killed from that side, but you're not going to have any ingress. We've got access points here and here, and then of course you're going to want to move out to the edges of the map and secure these expansions. This looks like a 2v2 map. Unbarred is the name of it, and it looks like a 10k to me. We've got first land rushing the hydro for Blinchik, probably going to lead to a second air, but nothing queued as of yet. A little bit of manual reclaim going down there over there on the trees. Then on this side, we've got same dealio. Hydro rushed immediately after a first land factory. Looks like 5 P-gens, which is a lot. That is quite a bit of power indeed for going for an air factory. Means he might be pulling a transport and avoiding that stall. No manual reclaim early on, whereas Blinchik is definitely picking that up, but we do have a couple of early naval factories in place. That is a little bit of an odd move also, because you could go for a couple extra land factories and move artillery onto the side expansions in order to get those secure more quickly. The Navy is going to lock down a lot of the passageways, but if it turns into a Navy contest, you're on much more even footing with your opponent than if you're abusing the hover arty. Looks like Blinchik going for a little bit more of a conservative build. 3 P-gens, then the air factory, followed by more P-gens. Scout first, probably interceptor after that. Yes, that is the case. And Edge building a naval factory in the center bay of the island. This is a little bit of a crude map. I don't know who made it, but it does have an interesting layout for a 1 versus 1. I'm not entirely sure whether there is an established build order even on this map. Heavy assistance on the air factory. That extra power is going to come into play for that. Going to get that interceptor out early. Scouts headed to the other side, running slightly ahead of what his opponent is doing. That scout's going to pull across just in time to see the second air factory and navy factory going down. So that's going to give Bravo a pretty dang good idea of what his opponent is doing. If he can deny scouts, he might actually get an advantage from that because he can build reactively. But what he does know is that he's got to get in the air game in a strong kind of way. And there's that transport that I was worried about. That is definitely an explanation for all of the extra P-gens that he had in place. He's going to grab a couple of engineers and probably head over to the north maybe to drop the far 4-mex expansion if I had to guess, because he does have 2 engineers headed out to get mexes and land factories on either side. But no, he is actually going to go left. I may be a little confused about the build order here because we have a split. I don't know if that engineer is moving. It's moving over here to get the land factory, air factory. This is weird. I wonder if that's a misclick. We'll have to wait and see what he decides to do with that. Oh, you know what? That is actually, yes, that is Blinchik's engineer moving all the way down here. So that's why there's 2 move orders linked together. Please let me know in the chat if there's anything wrong with the audio and whatnot on the stream, because I do have everything reinstalled. So if any of my settings are askew, it'll be pretty easy to tell early, and I would like to get things fixed up. All right, moving forward, we got a frigate out on the north. Not quite one yet, but it looks like a sub is coming first from the south, so that's going to be a bit of a denial build. Transport moving back across, everything is good there. And that's actually requeued, no more factories, so that was a change on the fly. Looks like frigate heading towards the south to try and deny those mass extractors, and ACU is going to move up and try to edge build this mass extractor. Not sure if he can reach it. That is an awful long way. No, he cannot. Can't walk close enough because of the way that cliff is oriented. And they're going to be moving in and getting 4 mass extractors and the land factories. Yes, going to completely abandon that mass extractor due to the waste of time and move in and secure. So that's going to be south side expansion uncontested to Bravo, and Bravo's actually moving his ACU to the north for the right side expansion. This is going to make a huge difference because with this going uncontested towards the south, that's going to be a bunch of free eco that doesn't even have to be fought for. Whereas on the north side, Blinchik is going to have to contest this entire expansion. This could lead to some interesting plays. I don't know. Blinchik is already behind in score. This could have major repercussions because if Blinchik falls further behind in eco, that's going to give a massive leg up to Bravo. T1 bomber headed in. There's not any air over here to protect, so those engineers are in critical danger right now. There is a little bit of air from Bravo, but with the single air factory producing for quite some time now, he doesn't have any significant amount of air. There's the bomb. Looks like one engineer picked up, another at desperate health. We've got one full, so if that bomber loops around, it might be able to pick up both of the others. We do have the land factory down, but that can be locked by the T1 bomber looping overhead. Looks like 4, 6, 7 interceptors-ish for Bravo, and a couple more for Blinchik, plus what's being produced back at the factory. Comparing Navy, we got 2 frigates, 2 subs versus 3 frigates, so easy win for Bravo, and Bravo will catch up on air production as time goes by due to dropping another one of those air factories. This is heavy assistance though, so you've got to also bear in mind that this is about 2.5 naval factories worth of production, and this is about 2.5, maybe 3 naval factories worth. We've got I don't have my extra information turned on. I totally forgot to enable that in the settings before this game started. You know what? I'm going to do it right now because this is the time to do it before we get any further into these games. And if you're ever wondering why we get a lot more options in FAF than in the Steam version, this is why. We have a ton of extra options. We've got template rotation we can turn on. We've got bigger icons if you want those so they're easier to see. Draggable build queue lets you shuffle things in the factories so that you can adjust stuff on the fly. All race templates, yes, yes, yes. And I need my visible template names, more unit stats. That's the one that I was looking for. And always render custom names. And then we can do, that should be good. All right, apply and go. So in the meantime, a couple of T1 bombers have absolutely wrecked the south side. You saw a little air fight over there in the corner, cleaning up interceptors. Blinchik's gonna walk away with a heavy air victory on that one. More T1 bombers coming out of the factories on the north side. Of course, anytime you secure an air victory, you want to monopolize on that as quickly as you possibly can. Bravo's got 3 land factories on the right versus 2 for Blinchik, so he is going to have the production advantage plus having his ACU in the fight. So that's going to favor purple ever so slightly on the north, but this is going to be a south side expansion denial. I didn't think Blinchik would actually get it done because of the lack of an engineer on this side or even an ACU, but the bombers are going to win it out. Navy is not looking so good though. We've got 6 frigates on the line, with more coming out of the factory shortly versus a single solitary frigate alive, plus a couple of subs in the base. Looks like we got another naval factory going down to get even more build power in the Navy game. And now we can actually look in the bottom corner. We should be able to see, no, it may not take effect until the game is restarted. You can usually see the build power for these units. If I'm not totally mistaken, these are 20 build power, 5 per T1 engineer, so 4 engineers doubles your build power, and you need 6 engineers to pay for the cost of a naval factory. So that would be indeed 3 and a piece of a naval factory versus 3 naval factories, essentially. Blinchik trying to get another land factory down, reclaiming now to get that mass back in pocket, so it's not a totally lost cause. Some tanks grouping up on the front, Bravo moving in, more land factories going down in the back, and point defense on the front to secure that group of mass extractors. Hopefully Blinchik can hold on to that eco, because if he can, that's going to put him in a pretty dang good position, because you'll notice out on the naval mexes, center island under control, right side expansion mexes under control. As long as this can be denied, we'll be okay. Blinchik wants to stay in the water, does not want to lose these factories. We do have a torpedo launcher that'll help out with things, plus the 3 subs. 4 subs now, but as we all know, T1 subs deal damage rather slowly. Frigates have a large health pool, therefore frigates can deal a pile of hurt out before they die to some puny little T1 subs. Gonna eliminate the subs from Bravo and then move on to the frigates. Another thing to keep in mind, Seraphim subs have 200 less HP than their counterparts in the other factions. They're rather weak indeed, but they do have an anti-torp shots that triggers, I think it's over 8 seconds. I'm not entirely sure on the number, but it's a long enough cooldown that it's not very effective at all. We got 2 T1 point defense online, only a single T1 artillery in the mix for Bravo. Bravo's actually gonna have to back the hell up quickly, because he's gonna lose most of his units to the point defense, giving Blinchik the home field advantage, and that's gonna force him to the rear. Since there are 5 factories now in progress for Blinchik versus the same 3 for Bravo, and we had all of those units die on this side, Bravo's not going to be able to catch up on unit production. He'll be lucky if he can hold on to this island, and he only has 3 mass extractors versus the 5 for Blinchik. Of course, you do want to keep holding it on. That's not a pitiful thing to lose, but you do need to be mindful that you don't want to spend an overly huge amount of resources. I need to untangle my tongue, Brink, what you rambling on about? You don't want to spend too many resources to hold this, because you could lose in other areas thanks to the mass that you dumped, and you want to stay on top of things all over the map. Still on 2 air factories over here without much assistance, although engineers are piling up. Looks like Blinchik is going to go for a mass extractor upgrade, first T2 of the game on his side. We do already have a T2 mechs on the south for Bravo, so the early game kerfuffle is not going to lead to a victory at the beginning. Gonna lock in for the long war, get a little eco down, get a little tech up, probably even see T2 Navy, and we'll see where the game takes us from there. It would be very interesting indeed to see a cruiser come out on this map, because the cruiser is going to be able to shred anything on the shores, and if your opponent has not gone for T2 on any of his factories, you're not going to be able to build TMD, and the economy will be slowly but surely whittled away. UEF destroyers are not going to be at such a disadvantage on this map, because I don't think the Seraphim destroyers will be able to submerge for too long. Since you're at closer quarters, torp damage takes a lot longer to kill than surface damage does, and you want to keep those destroyers away from your island. So they're going to have to stay up and fight, and Valiants, because of the short range, don't miss as much, and they do have very high HP and surface damage. So Valiants are going to do quite well in this particular fight on this map. I think it might actually be smart for Blinchik to go for T2 Navy. T1 Navy is growing for Bravo, though. Committed to his naval build. He's got a little bit more build power on it, or at least he did until he reprioritized these engineers. I don't know why he's assisting specifically the unit that is in the factory and not the factory itself. That's a bit of a weird move order. He might have placed a ground assist order earlier on that I did not see, but that's up for debate. Looks like a little bit of an assault on the base. Got plenty of Lobos with which to destroy that T1 point defense factory is down. Blinchik's gonna lock down the left expansion. And again, we've got all the mechs under control on the left side. Center is under control. Lost a couple on the right, but overall, Blinchik is outscoring and out-ecoing his opponent, going for a second T2 mass extractor upgrade, slightly behind his opponents. And look at this. We got a striker drop that's going to get blocked by the mountains all the way around. Sometimes I do hate you, Subcom camera. Those are going to be able to take out a T1 Mechs at least, probably 2, and maybe even make a dent in the other T2 Mass Extractor. Point defense going down post-haste for Bravo, but that is going to build rather slowly indeed. Let me go Alt F2 here and take a look-see. Bravo is rocking 27 mass income with 818 reclaim, as opposed to Blinchick, come on, give it to me, with 61 mass per tick, doubling it out, and triple the reclaim. That is a massive, massive lead, far greater than what I thought he had. We're gonna do set focus army -1, and that will take us back. And then I'll be able to use that command from here out for the rest of the game. Blinchick moving up on the assault now, got a massive group of T1 forces. It is back. Bravo is in the middle of an upgrade. I did not see what it was, and he does not have the notify on. So we'll wait and see for a tick. Probably, nope, that's gonna be a Control K. He is accepting his defeat. The base is overtaken, able to shut down that point defense, and that is all she wrote. Well done, Blinchick. That was a brutal game. I was worried at first because of the lack of Navy and because of the unit matchup. I think Bravo failed to take advantage of his unit strengths, his faction strengths. He didn't send any hover arty across to do raiding. He didn't send hover arty through the islands. Like one artillery up each side would be able to harass any potential engineers. He failed in the air game because Blinchick went super hard on early air. And I think that is what in the end clinched it for Blinchick. Well played all the way around though. Solid, solid game. Let me double check my... That is gonna wrap everything up for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, feel free to drop a like and share it with someone. If you want to support the channel, catch the streams, or join the Discord, check out the links in the description. Thank you all for being at least partially insane, and I will see you in the next one.